Well, good morning and welcome. And I hope that you feel the energy of that song and of that idea that something wonderful is happening right here, right now. How many of you have never been to our Burning Bowl Whitestone service before? Anyone here for the first time? Wow, welcome. It is one of our favorite services. It's a lot of fun and a lot of work to put together, but it's a wonderful way to let go of the year and to prepare ourselves to take hold in consciousness of the new year. So it's one of our favorite times. And if you've never been here before or never tuned in before, a special welcome to you. This is the Unity Center. Unity offers a positive approach to spiritual living. My name is Wendy Craig-Purcell. I'm the minister here at the center. Thank you to those of you who are joining us online, and a special welcome to all of you who made the effort to be here this morning in person. I'd like to acknowledge and introduce who's on the stage with us this morning. J.R. Betts on piano, Josh Vasquez on guitar, Kevin Dow on drums, Cecil McBee on bass, Eliyahu Lev, and Nicole DeCozen. We've got Eduardo Sabagal upstairs on sound, and Jennifer Purcell. So, all righty. Well, when you came in this morning, I hope you got the things that you need for this service, because this isn't just front of the room to you. This is a participatory service. So we do have on all of the seats the papers that you'll be working with today. But when you came in, you should have received a Whitestone and a pencil. And all of those are parts that you'll be wanting to use in the service. Also in front of you, if you've got tables in front of you, there are kind of a program order, so you'll have a little bit of a feel of the service. The service is very interactive. There'll be a lot of music in the service, and there will be opportunities for us to actually participate in experiential ways. We have a part of the service that's devoted to letting go, to releasing, hence the name in the service of Burning Bowl. So you'll have a chance to write down the things that you want to let go of the new year. And just know that God already knows what that is, so you don't have to write a book. It can just be kind of like crib notes and bullet points. There's a time in the service that I'll be asking you to just kind of reflect on things that you have learned this past year. And some of that you're going to finish at home. You won't be able to do all of it in the service today. And then there'll be a time in the service that we'll be talking about, and you'll be reflecting on, well, what is it that you'd like to bring into this new year? What does it want to feel like for you? That's very much a part of who and what we are. In Unity and in metaphysics, we talk about the power of consciousness, setting our intentions. So we'll do some of that today. That's another part of the service that I encourage you to complete at home to really make this meaningful and really make it real for you. And then the Whitestone part of the service is about receiving an idea or a guiding word that will help anchor the goals and intentions that you've set for yourself for the new year. So that's kind of a flow of what we'll be doing this morning. So, I don't know how it is for you at the end of the year and the start of a new year, but I get very reflective, and I really think about, well, gosh, what was this year like, and what do I want the new year to be? And what I know is that as this new year stretches out before us, it can be a source of joy or something else. It can be something fresh and brand new, or the same old, same old. There's a phrase that I heard many years ago that really spoke to me, and it's still something I hold on to. And it is the idea that we can either live our lives by design or default. Think about that for a moment. We live our lives either by design or by default. Design means that we are giving thought, conscious thought, to the kind of life that we want to be living. That's to live our life by design. To live our life by default is just to kind of be on automatic pilot, same old things again and again and again. What was it that Alan Watts said? That insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again, and what? expecting different results. So what we know in metaphysics is that we have the power of consciousness to really give shape to and form to the kind of life that we want to live. You may have heard this little story, this teaching illustration about a Cherokee elder who had called his grandson to him and was wanting to teach his grandson about life. And he said to his grandson that within him and within all people, there are two wolves. One wolf is evil and nasty and hateful and angry and vicious. And the other wolf is loving and kind and gracious and giving. And these two wolves within you and within every other person are constantly fighting. And life is a matter of which one wins. And the grandson asked, well, how do I know which one will win? And the grandfather said to his grandson, the one you feed. The one you feed. That's really at the heart of metaphysics, isn't it? It's at the heart of what it means to live our lives by design, to give thought to what it is that we want in our life, and to nourish that and to feed that. But oftentimes we start there instead of taking a step that really precedes that. And that step is making room. That step is knowing what it's time to release, to let go. Let me ask you, did any of you have an absolutely perfect year? Did any of you have a year where everything turned out exactly the way you wanted? Only the people in your life that you wanted in your life? Only pleasant conversations? November turned out the way you wanted it to turn out? Okay, so your chuckling says that you've got some things, this year that you maybe would rather not to take into 2025. And to the extent that we are willing to think about and name and then release those things that we don't want to bring forward, to the extent that we're successful in doing that, to that extent we are able to live our life in greater peace, in perfect peace, if you will. So I want to ask you to take your paper out. It should be the very first paper on your stack. And just hold that piece of paper in your hand for a moment. On it, it says, this has got to go now. I am ready to release. Some of you will have different colored papers, okay? But you have a stack, and there are 3 sheets. The top sheet says, this has got to go now. This is like that wolf you're not going to feed anymore. This is a thing that you want to release and let go so that you're able to move into this next year, into dreaming and creating your life by design with an energy of peace. So I want to invite you to take a moment to just close your eyes. You don't need to start writing just yet. Take a moment to just close your eyes and to kind of make that connection with your heart. Maybe take a few deep breaths in and out, breathing in a sense of peace and breathing out a sense of peace as well, breathing in the experience of clarity, breathing out anything that is unclear, and to set the intention that as you listen to this beautiful chant, Perfect Peace, that you allow Spirit to guide your hand to write what it is that you want to release from this past year. It could be a belief, it could be a physical condition, it could be an event that happened. What is it that if Spirit were to guide your hand, would instruct you now is the time to open up into perfect peace, to release this and to let this go?
Perfect peace flows through me. and I know perfect peace. Perfect peace flows through me. All is as it should be. I release, I let go, and I know perfect peace. Perfect peace flows through me. All is as it should be. I release, I let go, and I know perfect peace. Perfect peace flows through me. All is as it should be. I release, I let go, and I know perfect peace. Perfect peace. I am alive. Perfect peace. I am alive. Perfect peace. I am a light in this world. Perfect peace. I am alive. Perfect peace. I am alive. Perfect peace. I am a light in this world.
Please thank Eliyahu and Nicole and the band. All right. Now, one of our favorite parts of the service is we get to burn these babies. So please make sure you take just the top sheet of paper off, because you're going to need the other ones. If I can have the ushers come forward, they are going to direct you from the front of the room back out to the burning bowls. Please be really mindful when you put your paper in the burning bowl that your sleeves aren't anywhere near that flame. Also know, depending on what's on these pieces of paper, sometimes they take a while to burn. I remember years ago when I had a lot of process work to do around a particular relationship that I had with my mother-in-law that I really wanted to change. She showed up on so many of my burning bowls, and my goodness, it seemed like forever for that piece of paper to burn. I actually remember one time, this is many years ago, putting it in the fireplace, and some sort of downdraft came and blew it back at me. So with that, if I can have the ushers come forward to direct, they're right there. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and go outside and burn these pieces of paper. And JR, band, if you'll give us a little bit of music as we do it.
Mostly everybody is starting to make their way back in. We're going to get back into the music. This is called Possibility. Possibility. I am possibility. Infinite possibility. There's no limit to what can be. Every dream is reality. 'Cause I am possibility. I am possibility, infinite possibility. There's no limit to what can be. Every dream is reality. I am possibility. I am possibility, infinite possibility. I am possibility. I am possibility, infinite possibility. There's no limit to what can be. Every dream is reality. I am possibility. I am possibility, infinite possibility. I am possibility. I am possibility, infinite, infinite, infinite possibility.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Eliyahu. I hope you believe that about yourself. Do you? Oh, that was really anemic. Do you believe that about yourself? Do you? I hope you do. I really hope you do. We'll put you all on our prayer list in the prayer ministry that you believe this. You know, there's a statement I make from time to time when people ask me how I'm doing. I might say, well, I'm going through a lot of stuff right now. Do you ever say that phrase, I'm going through? Raise your hand if you ever say, I'm going through. There's a big difference between going through something and growing through it, right? Just take that for a moment and think about that. I'm going through something. I'm growing through something. The something is probably still the same, but the way that we approach it, how we interact with it is what is different. When we're just going through something, I think we're really not dealing with it. We're just in it. We're hoping that time will pass and we'll somehow be on the other side of it. And maybe it won't be so bad, but it'll be, behind us. But the idea of growing through something is very different. And I think the idea of growing through something is about taking the learning forward, knowing that Even though our principles and practices in unity and in new thought are powerful in helping us to transform our lives, that doesn't mean that we still don't have stuff that happens. We have problems and disappointments and challenges and frustrations and difficulties and so forth, but we are able to go through them by growing through them. And it means that we are taking the learning forward, I have always loved the symbol of the chambered nautilus. The chambered nautilus is this amazing creature. This creature builds its own home as it grows. The chambered nautilus can have as many as 30 different chambers, all lined with mother of pearl. But as this creature grows, it needs to move past and build another structure for itself, another chamber. But it actually has and always keeps what's called a thread of living tissue from the previous chamber to the next chamber. Now think about that for a moment. A being that is growing and evolving, ever becoming more complex and bigger, if you will, creating for itself more space to do that, and yet still this thread of living tissue that connects it with all of its previous chambers. And as it lives in its outermost chamber most of the time, it seals off the other chambers that allow it to have buoyancy in the water. Can you see any parallels with yourself and your own life? The idea that as you grow, as you have this thread of living tissue that connects you from the things that you have experienced in your life, the joys and the challenges and the triumphs and anything that you've ever overcome, that thread of living tissue allows you to continue to evolve. Think for a moment about the idea of forgiveness. We talk about forgiving and forgetting, right? Forgiving and forgetting. I don't completely buy that. I do believe 100% in the importance of forgiving. But I think that there's a reason we are supposed to remember certain things. But what we're supposed to remember is not the pain of what happened, but the lesson. Taking the learning forward. That's what we are to remember. And in our own life, if we can harvest the learning from those difficult experiences, those challenging times in our lives, we will, like the chambered nautilus, continue to evolve and continue to grow. You have a piece of paper in front of you that talks about the idea of taking the learning forward. At least I think that's the phrase I put in there, taking the learning forward. And so I want you to kind of let your mind be open to what are some of the things that you have learned in this past year. From the experiences that you've had, maybe the setbacks that you've had, maybe the triumphs you've had, the aha moments. I want to read a piece to you that was written by Andy Rooney. Remember Andy Rooney? And it's this idea he wrote of pieces of what he learned just as he got older. And this is a shortened version of a much longer part. But I want to kind of whet your appetite, prime the pump a little bit, for you to just start to think of what is the learning that you are taking forward. He wrote, "I've learned that the best classroom in the world is at the feet of an elderly person. I've learned that having a child fall asleep in your arms is one of the most peaceful feelings in the world. I've learned being kind is more important than being right. I've learned you should never say no to a gift from a child. I've learned that sometimes all a person needs is a hand to hold and a heart to understand. I've learned that we should be glad God doesn't give us everything we ask for. I've learned that under everyone's hard shell is someone who wants to be appreciated and loved. I've learned that when you plan to get even with someone, you are only letting that person continue to hurt you. I've learned that the easiest way for me to grow as a person is to surround myself with people smarter than I am. I've learned that life is tough, but I'm tougher. I've learned that opportunities are never lost. Someone will take the ones that you miss. I've learned that everyone wants to live on top of the mountain, but all the happiness and growth occurs while you're climbing it. What are some of the things that you have learned? Take out your pencil and just begin to jot some of those things down. What have you learned? What have you harvested from this past year? What insights do you have now that maybe you didn't have exactly a year ago? And so as you start to jot these down and just keep your mind open, your hand writing freely, be willing to continue this process, this practice a bit when you get home, maybe in your meditation time. What is it that is really yours that you've learned, hard-won learning and lesson? And feel free to continue to write as you're inspired by this next piece from Nicole.
Fisherman out there on the bridge. He backed small one after small one, put 'em in his little fridge. Then he caught himself a whopper, and I watched him throw it back. And I couldn't help but ask him, "Hey man, why did you do that?" He pulled out this little skillet and said, "See, it wouldn't fit. It was none of my business, but I couldn't help but wish he'd get a bigger pan, get a bigger pan. When you've got big dreams, for heaven's sake, don't throw those dreams back in the lake. It's not that you can't have it all, you've just been dreaming way too small. Get a bigger pan, get a bigger pan." Fisherman more times than I can count. Every time I felt unworthy, ran myself down. I'd get afraid and wouldn't play what I had there on the line, thinking that the big fish couldn't possibly be mine. But there's another fish to fry, and there's another day. Next time I hook the big one, I won't let him get away. I'll get a bigger pan, get a bigger pan, 'cause I got big dreams, for heaven's sake. Won't throw those dreams back in the lake. It's not that I can't have it all, I've just been dreaming way too small. So get a bigger pan, get a bigger pan. Okay, I've got it figured out, for self-esteem as well as dreams and trout. Get a bigger pan, get a bigger pan. When you've got big dreams, for heaven's sake, don't throw those dreams back in the lake. It's not that you can't have it all, you've just been dreaming way too small. Get a bigger pan, 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 get a bigger pan.
What a fun song. What a fun song. Got it figured out for self-esteem and trout. Get a bigger pan. Get a bigger pan. Well, it's kind of like the chamber nautilus, right? As the chamber nautilus grows, it needs to expand its space to live in. And so too for us, I think, especially those of us who really are involved in spiritual work and spiritual practice, we are driven by a vision. We're driven by or pulled by a vision of what's possible for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, for our world. We believe and we teach in metaphysics that thoughts held in mind produce in the outer after their kind, that attention goes where energy flows, that everything is created twice. Everything is created twice, first in mind and then in manifestation. Basic metaphysics. It's what I was talking about earlier when I asked you or talked about the idea of we either live our life by default or by design, right? And so what we know spiritually and metaphysically is that it's important to release limiting beliefs, to let go of bitterness, to let go of resentments, to practice forgiveness, all aspects of releasing and opening up. And it's not something that we do just once. It's kind of an ongoing practice, right, of releasing and opening up. And so we know that that's part of what moves us into the ability to live our lives more by design than by default. But then that we also have to be aware of what it is that we have learned. I believe with all my heart and soul that everyone and everything in my life is potentially a teacher for me. Sometimes they are teachers I love and adore and want to spend lots of time with and sit at their feet. And other times they are teachers that I have to really practice seeing and believing that in this person or in this situation that's so difficult for me right now, that seems to be very much like sandpaper to my soul, that this too is a teachable moment for me. They may not even realize that they are being my teacher, or the event certainly doesn't realize it's being my teacher. But if I have an open and humble heart, I will recognize that everyone and everything can teach me something. And that in that teaching, I then, whatever it is I have learned, no one and nothing can take that from me. Whatever you have truly learned in your life, whatever ahas you have come to, whatever deep wins you have had, no one and nothing can ever take that away from you. And so we recognize the importance of releasing, of making room. We recognize the importance of taking the learning forward, leaving the pain behind, taking the learning forward. And then we know we need to fill that vacuum by design. What is it that we want to bring forth in our life? How many of you remember how popular the movie The Secret was a number of years ago? I had a love-hate relationship with that movie. I loved it because it opened the door to some very basic metaphysical concepts to lots and lots of people, and I appreciated that. But I had the hate part, if you will, that's a strong word, really didn't hate it, but part that I wrestled with was it was sometimes too oversimplified. That yes, we do need to be clear as we can be, what it is that we would like to bring into our life. What kind of life do we want to be living? How do we want to be living? Where do we want to be living? How do we want to be in relationship with one another? What do we really care about? What is important to us? Yes, to have a vision of that and to work with all of our intention and skill and energy toward making that happen, but to also do it with a sense of detachment with how we're going to get there. Does that make sense? That we hold the vision of what it is we want to bring forward, believing that all things are possible, doing what we are guided and directed to do to make that happen, and then being gracious in how it all unfolds. So it's not a secret to me, it's a practice. It's not a secret, it's a practice. It's being able to name it, claim it, feel it. Name it, claim it, feel it. What is it that you want? Where has your soul kind of been aching or trying to pull you forward? Where is there something that feels like it needs to and wants to be different and better in your life? Can you name that? Can you claim that? Can you draw a picture in your mind's eye of what that would look like when it comes to pass? That's what it means to me to be pulled by a vision. I want to share a very short example with you of one of our members. And I asked him years ago if I could share this story. I'm trusting that he's still okay with me sharing it again because I'm going to. He might have to practice forgiveness of me if he's not happy with this. His name is Glenn Thompson. Glenn was on our board for many years. He attended many of our classes. He's here with his wife, Stephanie, this morning. And he retired from the post office many years ago. And before he retired, I believe it was, he had attended some of my classes on visualization and treasure mapping and all of these kinds of things. And Glenn was one of the only ones I remember that actually finished all of the exercises, all of the homework stuff in the class. And what he wanted to do was to be able to travel the world, to see the world. And he put it on his vision board, and he did his masterminding and meditating and pictures of beautiful places and cruises and everything just beautiful. It all came to pass for him, and came to pass where it really didn't cost him anything. He's a fabulous dancer and was hired by cruise lines to teach dancing courses on cruise ships. He has traveled now on to more than 100 countries, been on more than 50 cruises, with the longest being a 120-day cruise, teaches ballroom, Latin, and swing dancing, has cruised the entire world. But a cool part of his visualization, of his kind of seeing it and feeling it and being open to how it could come to pass, was that he had this connection with Spirit, this connection with God, where in 2019, he decided to not accept any invitations from any cruise lines to join them and to teach their dancing, because there was one thing he wanted to bring into his life that wasn't in his life at that time, and that was his sweetheart. So he was going to take that entire year off to be able to bring that sweetheart into his life, and he's sitting there right now. Go ahead, give him a round of applause. With his sweetheart. He worked no cruises that year, none whatsoever, so that he could create that vacuum, What is it? Yours is probably entirely different. But what is it that lives in you that you want to bring about, that you want to see? I hope, like me, you believe that all things are possible. But you do need to name it. You do need to claim it. You do need to feel it. You do need to see it. So begin to write what that looks like for you, knowing that you're not going to finish it here. You're going to finish it at home as you listen to and are inspired by the chant, all things are possible.
I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and I take renews my soul. Each breath I take renews my soul. Each breath I take renews my soul. Each breath I take renews my soul. In the love of God, I live in peace. In the love of God, I live in peace. In the love of God, I live in peace. I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and all things are possible. I am with God, and all things are possible. All things are possible. All things are possible. All is possible.
All right. Unity to me is a teaching and a practice. And what I know is I can be tremendously excited and inspired at the end of the year and the start of the new year. But sometime around maybe February or March, I kind of lose a little bit of that energy. Anybody else like that? You know, you set your New Year's resolutions and your goals and stuff like that, and then you kind of forget them. So I hope you'll take your vision papers home and keep them in a place where you will look at them again and again. But what I also have found to be helpful is if I have something physical that can remind me that I can just hold on to and actually physically touch. And many, many, many years ago, there was a couple in Unity, husband and wife ministers, that I think they created the white stone ceremony idea. And they said it came from the book of Revelation, where there was this teaching that when a prisoner was released, they would be given a white stone. When a prisoner was released from having served their time, they would be given a white stone with a new name written on that stone as a way to kind of show that they had paid their debt to society and they were free. If you've done any Bible metaphysics or interpretation or study, you know that there are certain characters in the Bible where their names are changed. And what we recognize that to represent in unity is a change in consciousness. Because the very idea of naming something, particularly in the Jewish Hebrew practice, the very idea of naming something was a way of describing that thing's nature. That name was like nature, the quality of that thing. And so we understand that in Bible stories where a character's name, like Paul to Saul, or Saul to Paul rather, where there's a name change, that it is indicative of a change in consciousness. And that change in consciousness is always a change upward, a change toward greater awareness, greater understanding, greater complexity, greater openness. And so the idea of the white stone is just a physical way of saying, what can we hold on to remind us of our own freedom? What can we hold on to inspire us as we go through whatever the year is going to hold for us to stay true to the things that are important to us, to do whatever we can do one step after the next, toward bringing into manifestation the goals that we have just written about and thought about. And so as you think about what it is that you are wanting to experience in this new year, the goals you have, the intentions you have, the invitation is to ask Spirit, ask God, whatever name you give that presence, for a guiding word to help anchor you as you move throughout the year. It could be a word like, sometimes it's the word love, sometimes it could be the word trust, it could be the word joy, it could be the word faith. Mine, because I was doing this for myself this past week, sitting in meditation, and I'll give you some instructions in just a second here, was a word I've never gotten before, and I don't think I've ever shared with you my word. But I kept getting this word. You know how when you ask for something in prayer and something just keeps coming to you? Do you ever argue with it? Okay, I do too. And I kept thinking, is this really my word? I can't believe I'm telling you this, but it is. It's generous. My word was generous. I thought, I've never really thought of that as a guiding, anchoring word. And so throughout this week, as that word came to me, I didn't think it. That's probably why I was arguing with it. I didn't think it. It just seemed to be there. I started to play around with this idea of generous and generosity, and I thought, okay, well, certainly, I think of being generous with my resources, my money. I already tithe. Doesn't mean I can't do more, but I was also thinking a word like generous with time, generous with understanding, generous with patience. That's going to be a biggie for me. Generous, so many ways that the word could help guide me in my personal life and practice, as well as toward the things that are on my vision statement. The reason I shared this with you is I do want to invite you, and I'll take you into a little bit of a space to do this, to receive the word if you can. And I hope that makes sense. There's a difference between thinking what you think it should be and receiving or allowing the idea of a guiding word to come to you. One of the ways that you might kind of know it's yours is if your first reaction is, oh, not that one again. You know, some of you have shared with me that 3 years in a row you got the word whatever, whatever the word was, and you wanted to argue. So allow me to help you just kind of move into a space right now. Just close your eyes. And to move into a space of open listening, maybe taking a few deep breaths in and out, releasing, allowing yourself just to feel the power and the energy and the beauty of being together here in this room and connecting with our global community, our virtual community. And know that you are here, we're connected now by divine appointment, that there is something good wanting to come forth in your life, even more than the good you might already be enjoying, that you've released, you've let go of some things, you've opened up to remembering what you have learned, ideas that are important to you. You have started the process of naming, describing, feeling what it is that you want to bring forth in this new year. And so if Spirit, your higher self, your divine power, were to suggest a word that could be your guiding word as you go through this new year, what would that be? And so just sit for a while and allow yourself to listen. Eliyahu and Nicole will bless us with a chant, Endless Flow, and see if you can't put yourself in that feeling of flow and receptivity for whatever Spirit or your higher self would say, here's a gift, a guiding word for for you for this new year.
I abide in the endless flow of love. I abide in the endless flow of love. I abide in the endless flow. 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 I abide in the endless flow of love. 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 I abide in the endless flow of love.
Staying in that same energy now, just hold your stone. If you haven't already written your word on it, go ahead and write it on it. And it is my prayer for you, my beautiful Unity Center family and community, that whatever you have written on your papers in terms of what you want to bring forth in the new year, that this guiding word will really be a beautiful sacred practice for you. Maybe you'll carry this stone in your pocket or keep it in your car or near your bathroom mirror, and let it literally be a touchstone, a gift of your higher self, suggesting here's a practice, here's a way to anchor who you want to be and what you want to bring forth. And let it feel like it is truly a gift and a sanctuary.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. a sanctuary, sanctuary for you. For you. Sanctuary, a sanctuary, a sanctuary, a sanctuary for you. For you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving.
Beautiful, beautiful feeling. Thank you both so much. Please give our Soul Notes band and Eliyahu and Nicole another round of applause. Thank you so much. All righty. Just a few announcements for you before we share our offering and before we go out with a real strong energy of moving toward our greater good. So the ushers will be coming forward in a bit to pass the baskets. So please just keep that in mind. If you prefer to give electronically, there is information in front of you so you can text your gifts that way if you like. And please know that your support, both from those in the room and online, is very much needed and appreciated in order for us to continue to offer the programs and services that we do. If you are here in the room for the very first time this morning and you have the time, we'd love to have you join us as our guest for coffee or tea in Sangha Cafe. They can make wonderful different kinds of beverages for you. So just go on in there, let them know it's your first time. If you don't have the time to do that today, I don't have it up here, but we do have welcome bags on the information table in the lobby. Feel free to pick one of those up. Want to give a great big shout out to all of you who helped with our San Diego food drive collection. We were told that our most recent food drive brought in 525 pounds of food. That's a lot of food, 437 meals. So thank you for that. If you'd like, Partners Fair Trade Boutique will be open today, both upstairs, and there'll be items downstairs as well. Joanne Fisher, Tracy Glass will be in Partners Fair Trade. There is a 10% off on everything except the Unity pendants and the Just for Today journals and calendars. Also want to let you know that if you need prayer support, maybe you want to have your vision sheet prayed over with one of our prayer partners, or there's something going on in your life. Prayer support's available today with Marty Rogers and Sharon Mendenhall. You'll find that they're wearing their white katas. Those are prayer scarves. Feel free to approach them. This coming Saturday, we will have a work party at Stallion Oaks Ranch. This is a 240-acre ranch and retreat property owned and operated by the Unity Center and maintained by volunteers of the Unity Center. So if you can lend a hand, we've got something for you to do, and it's a beautiful place out out in the country. You'll want to contact John Purcell about that. Our next Spiritual Principles at Work, our Spiritual Principles in Business meeting will happen on January 5th, which is next Sunday, in our conference room at 11:30, and the topic is navigating changing times. And I think we're moving into some changing times. A couple of special events that we have coming up here in January. Ringing in Renewal is a New Year's sound bath healing with Jenny Dawson. You can sign up for this. It'll be on January 8th, and you can sign up on the app, on our on the website, or just call us if you need some help being able to register for this event or any of our events. And then later in the month, in January, we're very happy to be hosting a traveling monk. His name is Brian Lotman. He has been well loved and received in a lot of our Unity churches, and he will be here Wednesday evening, January 29th, from 7 to 8:30 for a Sangha and for some chanting and sharing some of his spiritual practice and some of his spiritual teachings. So you might enjoy checking that out, and if you want to come, just register for it. I'd like to invite you now just to take your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, and hold them in your hand as we bless our gift and our giving with this affirmation. I'll say it once, and please join me. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to believe in countless blessings that I receive. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to receive. And I embrace my good. Now I do believe. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. Yeah, my good is coming to me. Oh, my good is coming to me.
Thank you, Eliyahu. One more round of applause for Eliyahu, for the band, and for Nicole. All righty. Well, this concludes our service. I am so happy to have shared this time with you. I wish you the very best new year. May it be healthy, a time of health for you, prosperity, and joy for you. And let me send you off with my favorite prayer, our meta blessing. I wish I could look into the eyes of each and every one of you personally and individually and say these words as a blessing. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free of pain and suffering. May you know the comfort and ease of well-being. May your heart be at peace. Namaste and a Happy New Year.